Chapter 1421. Orissa didn't have to wait long before Benjamin came over. The man bent down to pick her up. "I'll carry you upstairs for a bath. Are you done with your work?" Orissa naturally wrapped her arms around his neck, her eyes sparkling with joy as she looked at him. Benjamin met her gaze with a gentle look. "Leave the rest to Ethan." Orissa laughed and teased. "Ethan had just come back from Rudisei village and didn't even have time to rest, and you're already putting him to work again." With an air of dominance, Benjamin raised his eyebrows slightly, his eyes deeply fixed on her. "I've given him 2 days off. Isn't that enough?" Orissa glanced at him, not interfering much with his work. "So, are you saying you can take a break now?" During the weekend, he unusually set aside his work to spend quality time with her. "Yep, I'll keep you company." Benjamin looked at her, carrying her upstairs. "Where are the children?" "I've sent them off to take a bath. Dad and Mary, along with Edwin, are looking after them." Orissa leaned on his shoulder like a little lazy cat, soft and gentle. With a slight smile, Benjamin carried her straight back to the bedroom. He gently set her down on the bed. "You sit here for a while. I'll prepare the bath." Orissa's gaze followed him as she obediently sat on the bed. Benjamin turned on the water and then went to prepare their pajamas. Only after that did he carry her to the bathroom, where they enjoyed a couple's bath, which was rare. After they finished washing up, they saw children sitting on their bed. Orissa was very happy. Seeing that, Benjamin furrowed his brows deeply as he said sternly, "Why aren't you all sleeping? What are you doing here?" "We want to sleep with Mommy," Jessie said in a soft and cute voice. Her big eyes were wide open, making it impossible for Benjamin to scold them. After all, the little girl had a pretty bad impression of him. If he messed up, the little girl might become even less affectionate toward him. "Sure," Orissa responded enthusiastically. She quite enjoyed sleeping with the children. Previously, the little girl would often sleep with her, while her brothers would sleep on their own, only occasionally joining them. Upon hearing her agreement, the children were overjoyed. They all quickly and nimbly crawled into their blankets and settled down. "Mommy, you sleep in the middle." Gavin settled on the edge of the bed, followed by Tim and Jessie together inside. On the other side were Zachary, Oliver, and Jasper. The 6 adorable children looked at Orissa with bright, expectant eyes. Benjamin glanced at Orissa, recalling how dispirited she seemed before the children returned. He decided to go along with it, thinking it would be good for the children to spend more time with her. "You guys can sleep with Mommy, but you must behave once asleep," Benjamin reminded the children. Now that Orissa is pregnant, it could be troublesome if the children accidentally hit her during their slumber. Zachary and Tim are both very well behaved. They can sleep next to Mommy without causing her any harm. That's why I decided to sleep next to them, Jasper cheerfully told Benjamin, showing a great deal of consideration. Orissa and Benjamin exchanged smiles. "He is a lot more active than the others while sleeping. I think it's safer for your mommy to sleep next to me," Benjamin teased them. Suddenly, the children sat up and stared at him. "Mommy is going to sleep between us. You go sleep on the side." Benjamin swept his gaze past the furniture. The bed was quite large, but with the children sprawled all over it, it seemed like there was no room left for him. "You can sleep next to Jasper," Gavin said. Benjamin chuckled, feeling somewhat unwilling. He thought that sleeping while holding his wife was much more pleasant. "You don't have to sleep with us, you know. You can sleep in our room," Jasper said, challenging Benjamin. He sprawled out his limbs, taking up all the space. Zachary, Oliver, and Tim chuckled softly. Jessie chimed in. "Yes, you can sleep in our room instead." Benjamin snorted. Orissa laughed softly, comforting him. "All right, put me down now. Go sleep on Jasper's side. Otherwise, he'll end up falling to the floor in the middle of the night." Chapter 1422. Benjamin bent down to place her in the empty spot among the children. The children excitedly moved closer to Orissa, either hugging her neck or her arm. The 7 of them, mother and children, were snuggled up together. "Mommy, you smell so good. Mommy is still so soft. Mommy, The soft and tender voices of the children stirred an overwhelming surge of maternal love in Arissa's heart. As such, she held them close and showered them with endless kisses. "Sweethearts, it's bedtime." She took a deep breath, savoring the milky scent of her children, feeling an immense sense of satisfaction. "Okay, Mommy." The children were overjoyed, all scrambling into her embrace. Benjamin watched as they all left him out. He then cleared his throat in an attempt to get their attention. However, it didn't work. The mother and her 7 children exchanged goodnight kisses. Benjamin sat on the edge of the bed, half lying down, watching them still being affectionate. "Have you guys had your milk yet? I don't want to. It's time for bed." Jasper had already burrowed into the blanket, his small body wriggling like a worm, twisting and turning. "It's okay if they don't drink for one night," Arissa said to Benjamin, noticing that the children didn't want to drink anymore. "Don't complain about being hungry in the middle of the night if you don't drink." Benjamin stood up, personally going downstairs to make them some milk. "Daddy's gone out," Gavin exclaimed joyfully, clutching Arissa's arm. His little face was shining with happiness. Arissa doted on the boy, lightly touching his nose. "Your daddy must have gone to get some milk." Gavin pouted, grumbling, "Drinking milk at night makes me need to pee later." Arissa smiled, "You're still young, so you need to keep drinking milk to grow taller." "Mommy, getting up to pee after drinking milk at night is annoying. Can't we drink it during the day?" Zachary frowned slightly. It would be an unpleasant experience if they were woken up by an urge to pee while sleeping soundly. "Tonight, I'll ask your dad to carry you to pee. In the future, you can drink the milk earlier." Arissa agreed with them but still insisted they drink. "Mommy, we've already had such a full dinner tonight. Do we still need to drink milk?" Tim looked at Arissa adorably. She couldn't help but kiss her son's tanned face again. The boy had finally gotten a bit fairer, but after spending 2 days in the sun, his skin had darkened again. "You should drink it. This milk is nutritious, and you kids can't skimp on it," Arissa explained to Tim. Back in my village, nobody drank cow's milk. It was only the babies who drank from their mothers. Once they started eating solid food, they stopped drinking milk." Tim scratched his head. He only started drinking cow's milk after he moved there. Arissa's heart tightened a bit as she gently stroked her son's head. "That's probably because the village lacks resources, isn't it? Nowadays, many children need to drink milk, or they won't grow up." Jasper crawled out of the blanket and popped his head up to speak with Tim. Oliver gave Jasper a light smack, signaling him to be careful not to hurt Tim with words. "In any case, we need to drink the milk and get up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom." Tim chuckled. "Don't worry, I'll call you all up when I get up. But I want to have a good sleep." Jessie wailed, her small hands feeling around on Arissa's body. "You can still sleep soundly after drinking it. Milk even helps with sleep. I think I should have some, too." Arissa was coaxing them with a smile. When she saw Benjamin come in, she said, "Your daddy wants to drink, too." Benjamin glanced at them, meeting their sparkling eyes, and raised an eyebrow. "Don't you all drink milk every day? Why are you all rejecting it? The milk you prepare is tasteless," Zachary complained, showing a clear distaste. "Drinking something sweet late at night can easily cause cavities," Benjamin explained. "Love drinking yogurt," Jasper said with a chuckle. "Yogurt is yogurt. It's not the same as pure milk. You all better get up and drink it now." Benjamin poured 7 cups of milk, calling them to get up and drink. Chapter 1423. Why are there only 7 cups? "Gavin, astute," asked Benjamin. "Aren't you drinking?" Benjamin glanced at Gavin. "I'll drink later. You drink first." Tim and Zachary took the lead in lifting their glasses of milk. Oliver and Jasper followed suit, obediently drinking their milk. Benjamin brought over 2 cups, handing one to Jessie. He gently reminded her, "Careful. It's hot." "Thank you, Mr. Graham." Jessie took the cup, her voice still babyish as she expressed her gratitude. She then began to drink, taking small, careful sips. With a gentle smile playing on his lips, Benjamin sat by the bed, supporting Arissa with one hand while feeding her milk with the other. "Slow down," Orissa smiled, carefully took a sip, found the temperature just right, and then drank heartily. "Do you want more?" Benjamin asked, wiping the milk stain from the corner of her mouth. A pensive look filled his gaze. Orissa shook her head. "No more. If I drink too much, I won't be able to sleep." Benjamin helped her lie down comfortably. The kids had finished their drinks and swiftly climbed up from the foot of the bed, fearing he might shoo them away. They quickly lay back down on the bed, cuddling up to Orissa. Benjamin glanced at them, then went over to finish the remaining milk. Orissa reminded him, "Make sure you clean the cup well. It'll be hard to wash once the milk dries." "All right, you go to sleep first," Benjamin said, holding a kettle and a cup. He went to the bathroom to wash them clean before bringing them out. "Good night, Mommy." The 6 kids bid Orissa good night in their sweet, innocent voices before returning to their own spots. "Good night, sweethearts," Orissa responded with a smile, tucking the children in. Benjamin came out and lay down next to Jasper. The boy occasionally glanced at him, which made Benjamin chuckle. "Is something wrong?" Benjamin glanced at the restless little fellow beside him. Jasper pouted, grumbling in a fierce tone, "Don't squash me in your sleep, okay? I'm so small, you might just suffocate me." "Ha ha." Orissa couldn't help but laugh, reaching out to pat her son's little head, teasingly saying, "It's good enough that you didn't kick your daddy. Behave yourself when you sleep." Pouting his lips, Jasper complained, "Mommy, you're being partial. How could I possibly kick him? He's so big." Orissa didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She fondly pinched Jasper's cheek. "All right, enough talking. It's time for bed. Does anyone need to use the bathroom?" Benjamin asked the children. "We're not going," the 6 kids exclaimed in unison. "Good night," Benjamin bid them before turning around to switch off the lights and go to sleep. The kids were unusually excited to sleep with them and couldn't fall asleep even after a while. "Mommy, are you asleep?" Jessie turned her head to look at Orissa, her neck aching a bit as Tim lay between them. "Not yet," Orissa responded with a laugh. She glanced at her, noticing Tim and Gavin were also staring at her. She turned in another direction, only to find Benjamin, Zachary, Oliver, and Jasper all looking at her as well. "Benjamin, why don't you tell them a story?" She gave him this opportunity to shine. Benjamin didn't shy away, as he often used to tell bedtime stories to Gavin. Benjamin was very familiar with the stories. He casually picked one he had previously told Gavin and shared it with them. His deep voice seemed to carry a magical quality, providing an unparalleled sense of comfort. Anyway, Orissa didn't know how the children felt about it, but the more she listened, the heavier her eyelids became, and before long, she fell asleep. Benjamin noticed that she had fallen asleep, so he lowered his voice and continued telling the children the story before finally concluding. Jessie, Oliver, and Jasper had all fallen asleep. Only Gavin, Tim, and Zachary were still awake, staring at him intently. "Go to sleep. We'll continue tomorrow." Benjamin gently coaxed the 3 kids. "Good night, Mr. Graham," Tim said to him before closing his eyes to sleep. Zachary gave him a glance and also said, "Good night, Mr. Graham." "Good night, Mr. Graham." Gavin glanced at Benjamin. Benjamin was rendered speechless. Chapter 1424. "Ha, he's not even calling me daddy now." Benjamin pursed his lips. Noticing the kid's blanket was not properly covered, he still reached out and adjusted the blanket for them. His wife and children were sleeping next to him. Benjamin's gaze was gentle as he watched them for a while. Only when all of them were asleep did he close his eyes to sleep. Benjamin had just fallen asleep when he was abruptly kicked by Jasper. The boy even rested his foot across Benjamin's stomach. He moved Jasper's foot aside, put it back, and prepared to sleep. But Jasper rolled over onto him again. Benjamin stared at the sleeping little face in his arms, which greatly resembled his own features, leaving him no choice but to endure it. "He's my son, after all." Benjamin simply went to sleep holding Jasper. By the middle of the night, he had no idea how Jasper managed to sleep. His head was at the foot of the bed while he held onto Benjamin's leg and nibbled on his toes. A sharp pain shot through, and the man sleeping deeply instinctively wanted to kick it away. Suddenly remembering something, Benjamin retracted his foot. Jasper was still asleep, gnawing on his foot. Benjamin's forehead was covered in sweat, and he gently nudged Jasper with his other foot. Jasper. Seeing that Jasper was still not awake and his drool drenching his feet, Benjamin had no choice but to call out to his son. Yet, the little guy still didn't wake up. With one hand, he lifted Jasper back onto the bed. Jasper struggled subconsciously, murmuring, "Drumstick." With a stern expression, Benjamin turned to hold him, restraining his son's hands and feet to prevent him from waking up the others. After much difficulty, Jasper finally fell into a peaceful sleep, only for the Oliver next to him to stir. Oliver slept restlessly. Benjamin raised his hand and touched Oliver's forehead. "It didn't feel hot, Oliver." He called out a few times, waking up Oliver. "What's the matter? I need to pee," Oliver said adorably. Without his glasses and in a groggy state, he looked incredibly cute. "I'll carry you." Benjamin had no choice but to get up and carry Oliver to go pee. Oliver had been well behaved throughout, but upon returning to the bedside, he saw that Jasper had already fallen asleep on the floor. This sight made Benjamin's mouth twitch uncontrollably. Jasper has fallen under the bed again. Oliver opened his eyes wide, and upon realizing it was Jasper, he wasn't too surprised. "You go to sleep first, I'll pick him up." Benjamin put down Oliver, went to pick up Jasper from the ground, and tucked Jasper in. Orissa turned over, facing Tim. "Sweetheart, time to get up and pee." Seeing her with her eyes closed, calling their son to get up and go to the bathroom, Benjamin couldn't help but chuckle. He leaned over and gently pinched her cheek. "Do you need to use the restroom? I can carry you there." Blinking her eyes open, Orissa looked at him sleepily. She stared for a moment before reaching out to him. Benjamin propped one foot on the bed, leaning over to lift her up. Orissa mumbled to him, "The kids need to get up to use the bathroom too." Usually, Orissa would wake up in the middle of the night to take the children to the bathroom. "I'll take them in a bit." Benjamin carried her to the bathroom. After she was done, he carried her back and put her on the bed, then went to take care of the other children. Once Gavin, Jesse, Tim, and Zachary finished peeing, Jasper rolled back to the end of the bed. Benjamin was exasperated, thinking, "How can this kid be so rest?" He playfully patted Jasper's bottom a few times. "Get up. It's time to pee." Jasper was reluctant to get out of bed, turning over to another direction. With a helpless sigh, Benjamin had no choice but to pick him up and head to the bathroom. In front of the toilet, he pulled down Jasper's pants. Shish. Jasper hadn't woken up yet. Benjamin waited for a while, and Jasper finally peed as well. Then, picking up Jasper, he tucked the boy under his arm for convenience, and only after he was done peeing did he take his son out to sleep. Next, Benjamin was finally able to sleep more peacefully. However, when the kids woke up in the morning, they always climbed down from his side of the bed and over him. Benjamin, who was a light sleeper, was invariably woken up by the noise. "Go back to your rooms and freshen up. Don't disturb your mommy's sleep." After reminding the children, he moved to the middle of the bed, embracing Orissa as he drifted back to sleep. Chapter 1425. 6 kids stood by the bed, watching Benjamin holding Orissa. Then, in unison, they climbed onto the bed to give Orissa a kiss. "Didn't I tell you not to disturb your mother's sleep?" Benjamin was furious. "We're just giving mommy a good morning kiss." Gavin replied confidently, then stuck his tongue out at Benjamin in a very provocative manner. Jesse saw that Orissa had woken up and cheerfully greeted her in a soft, sweet voice. "Good morning, mommy." "Good morning, mommy." Tim, Zachary, Oliver, and Jasper all took turns giving Orissa kisses on her face. "Good morning, sweethearts." Orissa's voice was incredibly gentle as she lovingly embraced the soft little bodies of the children. With a smile, Gavin said to Orissa, "Mommy, you sleep a little longer. We're heading out." Then, he turned to Benjamin with a cool demeanor. "Are you taking us to school today, Mr. Graham?" A vein throbbed visibly at the side of Benjamin's forehead. "Who are you calling Mr. Graham?" Gavin's eyes twinkled as he suddenly tuned toward Benjamin with an incredibly cute smile. "Daddy, are you taking us to school?" Benjamin was taken aback for a moment. His voice unconsciously softened as he took in his son's smiling face. "I'll send you guys there in a bit." The 6 kids finally exited the room. Benjamin held Orissa, his chin rubbing against her neck. "Let's sleep a little longer." Orissa glanced at him and whispered, "I need to use the restroom." Benjamin quickly got up, carrying her to the bathroom. There was no chance of going back to sleep now as they were both wide awake. Observing his lackluster spirit, Orissa looked at him with concern. "Are you feeling unwell?" "No." Benjamin looked at her as he tucked her in. "I'm going to freshen up and take the kids to school. You just get some more sleep. You don't seem to be feeling well," Orissa said, holding his hand and looking at him earnestly. Benjamin affectionately brushed her nose. "I just didn't sleep well. Did the children bother you?" Orissa looked at him. When he slept with her, he never seemed to be like that. "Jasper was restless all night. Just last night, when I took Oliver to the restroom, in just a short while, he fell from the bed." Hearing Benjamin's complaints, Orissa chuckled. "You've had it tough. Jasper is indeed more active than the other children." However, last night, she felt that the other children were all sleeping very well. At least Jessie didn't roll onto her. "Go to sleep." Benjamin leaned down to kiss her forehead, then turned and headed to the bathroom. Orissa noticed something different about his gait. "What's wrong with your foot?" Benjamin glanced down, unconcerned. "Jasper nibbled on my toe a few times." Orissa was rendered speechless. A scene flashed in her mind where Jasper was nibbling on Benjamin's foot, and she couldn't help but burst into laughter. Benjamin's handsome face twitched slightly. Sleeping next to Jasper felt like going to war. After Benjamin finished freshening up, he went to the dressing room to change his clothes. Seeing that Orissa had fallen asleep, he quietly picked up his phone and carefully closed the bedroom door behind him as he left. The kids had all gone downstairs, waiting for him in the dining room. "Daddy, you're so slow," Gavin complained. "My little brothers and sister are so hungry, their stomachs are growling." "Feel free to start eating." Benjamin pulled out the chair at the head of the table, instructing Edwin, "Don't let anyone disturb Orissa's sleep." After having breakfast with the children, he dropped them off at school before heading to the office. Unexpectedly, an uninvited guest arrived at Yaleview. "I am Orissa's grandmother, Finley." Finley looked at the palace-like building of the Graham residence, her heart pounding with excitement. "I really didn't expect this wretch to live in such a nice place. Please come in." Edwin, upon seeing a relative of Orissa come to visit, invited her in. Since Finley stated her identity, Edwin didn't overthink. Chapter 1426. "Mrs. Graham is still asleep. Please have a seat here," Edwin said respectfully, instructing someone to brew coffee for Finley. "Go wake her up and tell her that her grandma is here." Finley commanded Edwin without any courtesy, using a tone as if she owned the house. Edwin was taken aback for a moment but didn't take it to heart. He then explained to Finley, "Mr. Graham has instructed us not to let anyone disturb Mrs. Graham while she's sleeping. You're welcome to look around here, though. Mrs. Graham should be waking up soon. I'll go upstairs now to see if she's up yet. Please, enjoy your coffee." Edwin took the coffee brought over by the housekeeper and placed it on the coffee table in front of Finley, calling out to have the housekeeper show Finley around while he went up to see if Orissa had woken up. As Orissa the female owner of the house, Finley squinted her aged eyes, his murky gaze making one feel rather uncomfortable. "Yes," the housekeeper respectfully replied. Finley gritted her teeth. She hadn't expected Orissa to be the female owner of that place. "I heard she's with Benjamin, the richest man around. How could he be so blind to fall for that wretch, Orissa? She married so well and only knows how to enjoy her good fortune. Not only does she not help us, but she also uses Benjamin to oppress us. She's truly an ungrateful wretch. Does Mr. Graham treat her well?" Finley inquired further. "Of course. Mr. Graham dotes on Mrs. Graham," the housekeeper said with a face full of envy. Finley nodded, took a sip of coffee, and her eyes lit up instantly. The coffee here was truly unique, even better than any she had tasted before. Do you still have this coffee? It's so delicious. Could you pack some for me? I'd like to take some home later. She felt completely at ease, as if she were at her own home, giving orders to the housekeeper directly. The housekeeper seemed a bit hesitant. Well, Mrs. Graham will be coming down shortly. May I speak with her first and then prepare it for you? We can't just make these decisions on our own. Mrs. Graham is my granddaughter. What's hers is mine. Can't I even take some coffee beans? Finley glared at the housekeeper. It's pointless to ask. She will give me more things later. I asked for some coffee leaves, yet you're refusing me. When she finds out, she will definitely scold you. You might even lose your job. Well then, I'll get things ready. Please have a seat. The housekeeper had no choice but to go and prepare the coffee beans that Finley had requested. Finley glanced left and right. Seeing no one around, she stood up and began to feel around here and there. When she saw the beautiful decorations, a wave of greed washed over her. Everything here can't possibly be antiques, can they? That one over there must be worth a lot of money. Finley glanced around. Seeing no one in sight, she directly stuffed the things she fancied into her carry-on bag. She regretted not bringing a larger bag, as the big one wouldn't fit. Edwin went upstairs to see if Orissa had gotten up, gently knocking on the master bedroom door. Who is it? Orissa woke up, but she hadn't gotten out of bed yet. Mrs. Graham, it's me, Edwin. Are you awake yet? Upon hearing it was Edwin, Orissa smiled. I'm up. What's the matter? Oh, I see. Your grandma has arrived and is waiting for you in the living room. I'm not sure what she needs from you. Edwin hurriedly reported to her. Orissa was taken aback. My grandma, did she tell you her name? She still seemed a bit skeptical. She introduced herself as Finley. Mrs. Graham, is she your grandma? Edwin was a bit worried. If he let the wrong person in, he would have to go downstairs and immediately ask the person to leave. Orissa furrowed her brows, wondering how Finley had managed to find that place. Orissa didn't want to see Finley, so she instructed Edwin. I don't know her. Please send her away. Startled, Edwin apologized. I'm sorry, Mrs. Graham. It's my fault for letting someone in without confirming their identity. I'll go down right now and drive her out. Oh my. Someone actually dared to impersonate Mrs. Graham's grandma and come here. That's just despicable. Edwin rushed downstairs in a frantic hurry, only to find that the little tiger decorations on the stair railing were gone. He grimaced further. Chapter 1427. Edwin quickly walked down and happened to see Finley sneakily stuffing something into her bag. What are you doing? Edwin scolded, striding over. With a clatter, Finley was startled, and something fell out. It was an antique ornament that had been placed on top of the piano. No, I just thought it was pretty and wanted to take a closer look. Finley explained with a guilty conscience, her smile stiff. Edwin glared at her, seething with anger. Do you know where you are? You dare to steal here. I'm calling the police right now. No, I didn't steal anything. You can't call the police. Mrs. Graham is my granddaughter. Finley was frightened when she heard Edwin wanted to call the police, and quickly brought up Orissa. How dare you impersonate Mrs. Graham's grandmother? She doesn't even know you. Edwin's face darkened, his anger intensifying. Hearing the commotion, the bodyguards outside rushed in immediately. Edwin, what's happened? A few well-trained bodyguards gathered around Finley. This old woman has been stealing. Search and bring out all those items, Edwin commanded. How dare you? I am Mrs. Graham's grandmother. What impersonation are you talking about? Go ahead, search me. I won't let this go. Finley started to act shamelessly, her eyes darting around the bodyguards, but deep down, she was panicking. Ha! Mrs. Graham said she doesn't know you at all, yet you dare to make a scene here. Edwin scoffed, waving his hand to signal the bodyguards to quickly take everything back. Hand over your stuff. The towering bodyguard was too much for Finley to handle. After a brief struggle, she was directly thrown to the ground. Finley shrieked, "You can't touch my bag, everything in it is mine." Let Orissa come down. How dare she deny me as her grandmother? How could she not recognize me? I am her grandmother. The bodyguards emptied the bag, took out all the items that belonged there, and laid them on the floor. The quantity was considerable, and the value was also substantial. They were all exquisite and valuable ornaments. You're dreaming if you think you can mess with Mrs. Graham. Just wait for the police to take you away for stealing from Mr. Graham. Edwin immediately called the police. Finley was throwing a tantrum on the ground, her sharp words cutting through the air. I didn't steal anything. You can't call the police. Orissa is my granddaughter. Everything here belongs to her, so what if I took it? It's mine as well. The bodyguards sneered at her, so shameless. So, Mrs. Graham's belongings are now yours. PFF'd. Even if she's the biological grandmother, if Mrs. Graham doesn't give it to her, it doesn't belong to this old woman. In all my years, I've never met someone as shameless as you. You can deal with the police yourself later. Edwin instructed his bodyguard to keep an eye on her and prevent this old woman from bothering Orissa. Keep a close eye on this old lady. Don't let her wander around aimlessly again. You're all being too much. I want to see Orissa. Finley shouted, knowing that Orissa was at home. Orissa, come down here. You ungrateful wretch, how could you let people bully me? Get down here now. The housekeeper who was just sent by Finley to prepare coffee came over and reported to Edwin. Edwin, this person just asked me to prepare coffee for her. She really has no shame. Edwin sneered at Finley, instructing the housekeeper, gag her. She's too noisy. You. Finley pointed at them, unable to resist the well-trained bodyguards, who held her down and pried her mouth open. The housekeeper quickly grabbed a cloth and stuffed it into her mouth, silencing her curses. In the end, the bodyguards also tied up Finley's hands. What happened? Orissa heard a commotion from upstairs. She came down to see what was happening. To her surprise, she found Finley tied up by everyone, her mouth gagged. Her usually harsh face was twisted in anger, which Orissa found quite amusing. Chapter 1428. Mrs. Graham, this old woman has been stealing. Edwin pointed at Finley, visibly upset. He blamed himself for not verifying her identity before letting her in. I didn't steal anything. Finley's face showed guilt, but she stubbornly defended herself. Orissa squinted her eyes, staring at Finley. She let out a huff. Some people never change. You claim you didn't steal anything, yet our stuff is in your bag. Did these items just go into your bag on their own? Edwin retorted sarcastically. How would I know? It's clear that you're framing me, deliberately putting on a show for Orissa. Finley was utterly shameless. Edwin, call the police. Orissa didn't want to waste time arguing with Finley, so she instructed Edwin. Mrs. Graham, I have already called the police, Edwin reported to Orissa. Orissa, I'm your own grandmother. How could you treat me like this? Finley's eyes were filled with incredulity as she confronted Orissa. Orissa let out a cold laugh. Sitting on the couch, her gaze fixed coldly on Finley. I don't have a grandmother, and certainly not one who's a thief like you. Finley's face turned gloomy as she cursed loudly, infuriated by Orissa's sarcasm. You're an ungrateful wretch, aren't you? Now that you've married into wealth, you don't recognize me anymore. Is that it? If it weren't for us raising you, who knows if you'd even be alive today? What's wrong with me taking a few things? I deserve that much. Everyone was speechless at Finley's shamelessness. Orissa chuckled. I should thank you. It's already quite something that you didn't kill me. And you raised me. It was Grandpa who brought me up. All you gave me were beatings and scoldings, driving me into a corner. The thought of herself and her children nearly perishing in the desert was something she could never forgive them for. You've already cut ties with me before, yet you have the audacity to come here and cause a scene. What makes you think you deserve anything? Finley's face contorted, like a vengeful demon, glaring fiercely at Orissa. The York family has treated you well, but now that you've grown strong, you're turning against your own father. You're inhuman. If you dare to have me arrested, I'll die right here. Finley's spit was flying everywhere, causing the bodyguards to instinctively dodge a bit. Orissa was not intimidated by her threats. She scoffed coldly, whether you live or die has nothing to do with us. If you die, I'll notify your son to come and collect your body. Finley didn't expect that she couldn't scare Orissa. For a moment, she was stunned, unsure of what to do. Coincidentally, the police arrived at that moment. Edwin led them in, pointing at Finley and said, "This person broke into our house to steal. I suspect she still has some of our belongings on her. Officer, I've been framed. I didn't steal anything. This is my granddaughter, Mrs. Graham, the lady of the house. How can taking something from your own home be considered theft?" Finley became frantic. She couldn't be arrested. "Are you related?" the police officers asked Orissa. Edwin also looked at Orissa. Orissa previously claimed not to know this old woman, but based on what she just said, it seemed they did know each other. Whether they were related or not was still unclear. With a stern look in her eyes, Orissa reported to the police, "I have no connection with her. She stole from our house. I kindly request the police to help recover our property." "Thank you, officer, this is the surveillance footage from our home." Edwin had just asked the bodyguard to retrieve the footage and handed the tablet to them. Finley's face turned pale. "There are surveillance cameras around the house." Orissa looked at Finley with great distaste. Despite Finley's persistent meddling, no one had taught her a lesson yet. She continued to act high and mighty in front of everyone. "The evidence is irrefutable. Please cooperate with us." After reviewing the surveillance footage, the police knew exactly what had happened and allowed the housekeeper to proceed with the search. "You can't search me. I want a lawyer," Finley shouted, but she was restrained by two uniformed officers, as the housekeeper continued to search her. The housekeeper, having been yelled at and threatened by Finley, naturally didn't treat her kindly. Indeed, she found something on Finley. A bracelet and a necklace. Those were items placed on the living room coffee table, changing color with heat, and they were quite valuable. A mocking smile appeared on Orissa's face. Such extreme greed. Chapter 1429. Take her away. The evidence was irrefutable. Any further attempts at arguing from Finley were futile. She was apprehended and taken away by the police. "Orissa, you ungrateful wretch. The York family would have been better off raising a dog than you. You're truly malicious to get me arrested. You won't meet a good end." Finley could not care less about her original purpose for coming here. She cursed vehemently, and her words were vicious. Orissa stared at Finley with a cold gaze. If Finley could curse a person even when things were going her way, imagine what she could do when they were not. She could dig up your ancestors from 18 generations back and give them a good whipping. "Damn old hag, if you dare to slander Mrs. Graham again, we'll sue you for defamation." Edwin really could not stand it anymore and retorted angrily, "I won't let you off easily. I will hire a lawyer and sue you until you're ruined." Finley, while being led to the police car, shouted defiantly. Rich people cared about their reputation. As long as Finley made a big enough fuss, there would come a time when Orissa would beg her. Orissa's face was gloomy as she watched with a mocking gaze while Finley was shoved into the car. Edwin explained the situation to the police, that Orissa was pregnant and that it would be inconvenient for her to go along. He then followed the police car as it drove away. "Mrs. Graham, are you all right?" Both the housekeeper and the bodyguard looked at Orissa with concern. They were afraid to upset her mood. "I'm fine." Orissa gave them a smile, then glanced at the ornaments and instructed, "You guys put these away. I'm going to take a nap upstairs. Mrs. Graham, please have something to eat first." The housekeeper reminded her and was about to bring her some food. "No need, I'm not hungry." Orissa went upstairs. The housekeeper and the bodyguard exchanged a glance. With Edwin absent, they discussed, "We should inform Mr. Graham. Mrs. Graham must be feeling upset. It will be better to ask Mr. Graham to come back and spend more time with her." Orissa returned to her bedroom and rested on the bed. The image of Finley's vicious face flashed in her mind and left her feeling deeply chilled. "No matter what, I'm still a child of the York family. Even if you don't like me, is there really a need to despise and curse me? Unless I'm not a child of the York family." Once again, that thought flashed through Orissa's mind, and she found it amusing. That was the only way she could console herself. Her phone rang. It was Benjamin returning her call. "Hello." She snapped back to reality and picked up the phone. "What are you doing?" Benjamin did not directly ask why Finley came to his house. He was more concerned about Orissa. Nothing much. Just daydreaming in bed. Orissa laid down on her side and said lazily, "Have you had your breakfast yet?" Benjamin asked. Orissa shook her head before she remembered that Benjamin could not see her. She then said aloud, "Not yet. I don't feel like eating yet. I'll have the housekeeper make you some more oatmeal porridge and bring it up to you. I'll be back in a bit." Benjamin told her, "Go about your business. I'm fine." Orissa could guess that someone in the household had informed Benjamin. Otherwise, he would not have suddenly called her to say these things. "Wait for me to return, and I'll make you something delicious. Tell me what you'd like." Benjamin did not listen to her. He was already on his way back. Orissa was deeply moved, sniffled a bit, and said, "Let me think about it first. I'll tell you when I've made up my mind." "All right, I'll handle it when I get back." Benjamin hung up the phone before calling Ethan to instruct him to take care of Finley's matter. Let her stay inside a bit longer. How dare she cause trouble in Yaleview? She's courting death. Orissa did not have to wait long before she heard the sound of a car engine being turned off downstairs, followed closely by the sound of a car door closing. She looked toward the door and counted the time. Soon, she heard the sound of hurried footsteps. Upon hearing that, it was clear that it was Benjamin. As expected, the man appeared at the door the very next second. Dressed in a suit and leather shoes, Benjamin stood tall and straight. His handsome face wore a look of concern as he walked toward her. Orissa's heart began to flutter. Seeing that she appeared normal, Benjamin let out a sigh of relief. He sat by the bed and fixed his gaze on her before gently asking, "Have you decided what you want to eat?" Chapter 1430. Orissa gave him a bright smile. "Can I have meat pasta? Is that okay?" Benjamin was taken aback for a moment. His gaze fondly rested on her. "I'm not sure if we have the ingredients at home. Let me go check." "Sure. If there's none, you can just cook the pasta." Orissa was always easy to negotiate with. Benjamin affectionately pinched her face, and he asked gently, "Do you want to go down or wait for me upstairs until I finish and bring it up for you?" "Go ahead." Orissa reached out and hooked her arms naturally around his neck. Benjamin went with the flow. He wrapped his arms around her and bent down to give her a kiss. "I'm going to change my clothes." Benjamin nuzzled her nose with his. "All right." Orissa nodded and released her grip to let him change his clothes. Benjamin changed into a set of casual clothes and became much gentler in demeanor. Orissa watched the handsome man with focused eyes and felt a sense of sweetness in her heart. As Benjamin turned around, he met her focused gaze. His eyes deepened. With long strides, he walked over to Orissa, who was still a bit dazed. "Am I that good looking?" Benjamin leaned over her with his thin lips slightly raised. He looked devilishly charming. Orissa blinked. Her face instantly flushed with a few shades of crimson, and she looked charming and captivating. With a passionate gaze, Benjamin held her chin and kissed her deeply for a moment before finally releasing her. If it were not for the fact that she had not had breakfast yet, he would have loved to have a tussle with her. Benjamin leaned toward her and let out a soft chuckle. His lips brushed against hers and sent a tingling sensation through her. "Go and cook something. I'm hungry." Orissa gently nudged the man. The man's intense masculinity enveloped her, making it hard for her to resist. "All right." Benjamin's eyes sparkled with laughter as he looked at her. Unable to resist, he kissed her again before carrying her downstairs. Orissa had also grown accustomed to being carried around by him. Her arms wrapped around his neck, and she leaned comfortably on his broad chest like a precious little lazy cat. "Did you take the children to school in the morning?" Orissa remembered the children asking him this. "Yes." Benjamin lowered his gaze to look at her. His eyes were full of affection. "I'll take you to the hospital for a checkup later." Orissa was taken aback and somewhat puzzled. "I'm perfectly fine, aren't I? Why would I need to go to the hospital again?" Sensing her reluctance to go to the hospital, Benjamin gently rubbed her nose. "Let's just go for a checkup, and we'll come right back after it's done." Orissa looked at him and sighed, "All right then." With a doting smile, Benjamin assured, "Don't worry. You won't have to stay in the hospital. We'll go home right after the checkup. Orissa nodded in agreement. After all, the medical equipment at home was not as comprehensive as those in the hospital. It was only by going to the hospital that he could feel at ease. Benjamin carried her downstairs. Orissa wanted to go to the kitchen, so he had no choice but to carry her there and set her down on a chair. The housekeeper quickly fetched a cushion for Orissa to prop herself up with. "I'll go make some food. Behave yourself," Benjamin reminded her. "All right, off you go." Even with the housekeeper present, Orissa felt a bit embarrassed. This man was treating her like a child. Benjamin chuckled, then turned and headed into the kitchen. He looked for some ingredients and asked the housekeeper to prepare them for him. They were out of meat. "Honey, we're out of meat. How about I make you some creamy tomato pasta?" Benjamin asked for her opinion. Sure, Orissa had anticipated that they would not have the ingredients at home. After all, Benjamin did not like to eat them. Whenever she wanted to eat, she had to notify Edwin in advance to buy them ready-made. "Edwin hasn't returned yet, Mrs. Graham. Edwin has gone to the police station and hasn't returned yet," the housekeeper responded. Orissa nodded. She was aware that Edwin had gone to give his statement. "I've asked Ethan to handle it, so don't worry," Benjamin reassured her when she brought up the matter.